What is up, you guys? And welcome back to another episode of Brewluminati, the podcast where we drink beer and talk about conspiracy theories. My name is John.
And this is Jake.
And welcome back. So today, first, before we start the show, we need to go over a little bit of news, which I think we're going to keep doing moving forward in shows. So we've heard some of you guys' feedback, and one, we're not changing the format of the show, but we are going to make the format a little bit more rigid. And so in that respect, one of the things that we are going to make a commitment to try and stick to is our beer portion of the show, the ranting and raving and going off on tangents and all that kind of garbage. We are going to try and keep that part of the show to at or under 30 minutes.
Tighten it up a little.
Yeah, I know we had an episode come out recently and our rant was longer than the conspiracy portion. And I think we didn't really like that. So, so moving forward, we're going to try and keep this part fun and like it is, but we're going to try and not bore y'all to death with an hour or 90 minutes worth of
task a little.
Yeah, running off on tangents and shit like that. Another announcement that we have. So we have in our hands now as of today or earlier this week, special edition UV coated vinyl stickers that we're going to start disseminating out, sending to our patrons, sending to people who we know listen to the show, sticking them up around. Yeah, we're going to send them out to people who want them. So if you want a sticker, hit us up and let us know. You can get with us through Instagram at Brewluminati Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at Brewluminati Podcast.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
Anywhere.
You can get to us there. You can get to us on our Discord. You can get to us on...
we're around.
Patreon. You can get to us on our Patreon. And or you can shoot us an email if you want or whatever. If you just Google Brewluminati Podcast, it'll be out that you'll find us. Okay, so the other thing that we're going to do is at the beginning of shows before we start, we're going to give you guys a little bit more of a taster of what we are going to talk about. So we're not just like super burying the lead on the content and then going straight into the beer. So like tonight, we'll just jump straight in as if I had just started the show and not gone over the news. So tonight we are talking about something about the Act of 1871. What is it?
Yeah, so there's a bill passed into law by Congress called the Act of 1871, where essentially they gave DC its own kind of governmental rules, and this turned into a really big conspiracy happening nowadays with the sovereign citizens and the QAnon brigades. So we're going to dip into that.
All right, cool. Yeah. So first we're going to talk about our beer. Then we're going to jump into that. So let's go ahead and jump into our beer. Jake, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Surly Brewing Company Abrasive Double IPA, which is out of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis. Looks like it comes in at about 9.2%.
All right.
But yeah, so Surly Brewing Company, apparently they do bikes and beer now, which makes sense because they had a very beer culture kind of focused bike company. I had one of their first bikes, a Surly 1x1, which was an amazing bicycle. Highly recommend that to anybody. The IPA, a little underwhelming. I don't know.
Yeah, not as good as the bikes.
No, it's kind of on the side written. Well, I mean, it says abrasive double A, like it's a gigantic explosion. And then on the side somewhere it says,
yeah, there's really like little hot buds like exploding.
Yeah,
out
like
from
a
the
big
thing.
explosion. And it says aggressive, fruity, and bold. And I really wouldn't use any of those three words to describe it. It's more of just like a regular IPA that's not really hazy. It's just, kind of a standard IPA.
It's all right.
It's all right. I don't know. I'd like to see what else they're doing because I like their company. So.
Yeah. Now this makes me wonder because like breaking the fourth wall again, we've told you guys we record in my garage and it's freezing balls right now. So I mean, it's whatever. But in my garage right here to my right is my wife's Raleigh Hybrid and my Fuji road bike.
Yes.
I wonder if they make beer.
Fuji makes a lot of stuff. Like
Do they?
Like TVs.
Is it the same company?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Is Fuji like the same thing as like the company that makes the TVs and the...
Yeah. So
is it the film company and everything too?
Yeah. So they used to be this really amazing... They made really amazing bikes in the 80s, early 80s.
I mean, I love my Fuji. This thing's light as shit and it wasn't that expensive. Like it rides good. I've probably put a couple 100 miles on it.
They've come back around. They went from really great to crappy to now they're pretty good again. Raleighs are great bikes too. They always have names of like places around here, and people love them here, obviously.
Yeah, well, except that Raleigh is a UK company.
Right. Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with Raleigh, North Carolina. It has everything to do with Raleigh, UK.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. I haven't looked that much into it. But Raleighs are nice bikes, especially
they sell them in all
ones.
the like Dick's Sporting Goods stores around here.
Do they really?
Yeah, they sell the Raleighs, and they have names of like rivers around here and stuff.
Oh, that must have been like a gimmick that they started doing to try and sell more Raleigh bikes here.
I think Dick's bought them or something, like bought the name and started making them.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I did not buy this one from Dick's. This one came from like the same bike store I got my Fuji from.
Yeah, like an actual bike store.
Yeah, it's really cool. Cycle Logic. Those dudes are really cool. Yeah.
I grew up working in bike shops. I was a huge cyclist growing up. I also worked when I was in college and stuff. I worked at Dick's too, like assembling bikes, but I highly recommend going to a local bike shop.
I feel like you told me about that. You worked at Dick's for like 4 weeks or something. It was like, this is going to be great. I'm just going to hang out at Dick's and make bikes. Right. And then I got into it and I was like, fuck this place.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just going to chill, assemble some bikes. And then all of a sudden I was like unloading trucks at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life here?
Right. Yeah. No, I feel like the Raleighs are weird. Like the older ones, like that people still sell on like Facebook Marketplace or whatever, that are like the 81, the 80s, 70s, and 80s ones.
Yeah, you can get some
they're
good
as
ones.
Expensive as like brand new hybrids and road bikes and stuff, but they're trashed.
Usually, yeah. I mean, there is a collector aspect to old Raleighs, and there's a whole like old Tour de France style race bike collections. I don't have many more, but I used to have a bunch of old frames that I collected from different bikes throughout the ages and stuff. But yeah, Raleigh made some really interesting Tour de France bikes in the late 70s or late 80s. Nowadays, there's only basically like the two big bike companies. It's like Trek and Cannondale, and they're like competing, and all the money's going to the same place.
Yeah. What's the other one? Specialized?
Yeah, Specialized.
Yeah, and then there's Fuji and Raleigh and
and there's a ton of like kind of mid-range.
Schwinn still makes a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Schwinn.
And basically, if your bike doesn't have Shimano on it, it's trash.
Yeah.
Like,
so I used to race Schwinn. I was sponsored by Schwinn when I was younger before they got sold, and they actually were sold to Huffy, the parent company of Huffy, on 9/11.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
They signed the paperwork the morning of 9/11. Yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah, and I was like a Schwinn guy through and through. Like I collected like the old Schwinn, the crates when I was younger, and then raced for them. And I raced for them when I did BMX, and then got into when they did homegrown mountain bikes, and I was obsessed. I mean, they gave me new bikes all the time, and I worked for a Schwinn company, and and then that was like 96, maybe 97, and then I went to college, and then all of a sudden like, oh no, Huffy makes them now. Like, oh okay.
And then they all of a sudden got commercialized and crappy. Yeah.
They were just in Walmart after that.
Yeah. Because I feel like if I think back, I'm like, Schwinn sucks.
Yeah.
Like, what do we?
But they didn't used to. I mean, it's some of the 70s Schwinn road bikes are still amazing. You can fix them up. I've got a 81 Schwinn Super Road, and that is amazing bike, super lightweight.
I'm just thinking of your house, and you always tell me like all this weird stuff that you have and all this weird stuff you've done throughout your life. And I'm just like, where do you have this stuff?
I've got a huge storage space in the back that you can't really see off the deck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, off the deck. There's like a big walk-in storage
I'm just like,
spot.
where is all this crap that you have?
And then there's storage under the stairs where there's some stuff.
Your Harry Potter closet.
Yeah, and then I have this thing called the scuttle, which if you in our hallway, the upstairs hallway, there's a little door to the right that's about 3 feet off the ground, and the door is about 2 feet tall. And if you open it up, there's about 800 square foot of empty space in there.
Really?
Unfinished space. It's not insulated.
Holy shit, that's ridiculous.
And it's just got like plywood floor, and everything I own is in there. So one day we're going to knock down a wall and like expand the master bedroom into that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And then I'll lose all my storage space, but like, it'll be better.
You'll just have to get a storage unit.
Yeah. I'll just build something.
Like anybody who has ever played music has had a storage unit before. Luckily at this point, I have pared down my music collection to no longer need a storage unit. But yeah. Well, drummers are the big ones who need storage units. Guitarists don't really need storage units.
Well, drummers also need a place to play so their family doesn't murder them.
Yeah. All right. We should keep moving on.
Yeah, let's
try and keep our 30-minute thing. So now for me, for my beer part, This is the culmination of 10 episodes of this show, which I am now finally going to talk about.
Yeah.
Sycamore's Juiciness IPA, which I've been alluding to, I think, since like episode 2 or 3 or something.
And it was most
like
recently mentioned in episode maybe 5 or 6 too. So
yeah. So basically there was this whole situation that happened around me acquiring some juiciness. And I think I've told you guys basically that I'm already completely in love with this beer.
He's obsessed.
It's amazing. So basically Sycamore, which we talked about a bunch of times, it's a brewery down in Charlotte. And this is one of their 2 basically budget line beers. And the can, very straightforward. It's it's a nice light blue can. There's a white leaf on it with a red sycamore. It has little orange slice cuts all over it and stuff. And basically it says, the description is, juicy and refreshing. This thirst-quenching IPA is dripping with lively citrus notes first sip to the last. Brewed in Charlotte. Best enjoyed fresh, which I guess this one's getting slightly old. It was canned 12/23.
Do we know what they consider fresh?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know.
I don't know either.
I mean, is less than 2 months fresh?
I've heard 90 days is what people can, at least what I think Stone considered that fresh.
I feel like most beer companies, it's like a month or 2.
Yeah.
A month or 2 is pretty fresh. After that, it's like normal shelf beer age.
Yeah.
And then anything past like 6 months. Pretty
Yeah,
old.
because you know how Stone does that best if by beer?
Vaguely.
Yeah. So, I mean, on the West Coast, it's huge, but yeah, they have it here too all over the place where they'll do like best by Halloween, best by Christmas. Those are usually out like 4 months before, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure that I knew that. But yeah, so this beer only comes in tall boys like everything Sycamore does, tall boys only.
Yeah.
It is a India Pale Ale, 6.8% ABV. The IBUs are not on here, so I don't know what it is, but I feel like for an IPA, it's fairly light. But basically, the description is spot the fuck on. This beer is dope. I have drank probably 10 8-packs of this this year.
This month.
Well, no. Well, all right. Well, it's now since the beginning of summer of 2020.
I mean, you've been drinking it nonstop since we started this.
I mean, I've probably bought at least 1 8-pack a month, if not 1 8-pack every 2 weeks.
I feel like you started drinking it about when we did episode 0.
Probably.
Yeah.
Which you guys have not heard episode 0, but just to talk about what that is, we did a pilot of the show before we actually recorded our first episode. Yeah. We called it episode 0. And that episode is out there and it is edited and ready to go, and it will eventually be released for patrons.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking about wanting to get into our Patreon, as our Patreon grows, we're going to start making more content for it, specialized stuff that we don't post for free. You'll be able to hear episode 0. We'll post like copies of Jake's books. We'll give you guys all this extra free stickers, shit like that, which, I mean, we're going to give you guys stickers if you want, I guess. As long as we don't run out or whatever, I don't know. Or run ourselves out of money mailing them to you.
We'll
I don't know. But yeah, we're going to start posting more content like that on the Patreon.
And episode 0 was basically us talking about like our conspiracy origin stories, like where we first
essentially
heard. So
yeah.
But let's get back to juiciness.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, let me taste it real quick.
Just is it still as good as day 1?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. This beer fucking slaps.
Still has it.
Yeah, it's so good. It's not really hazy because like basically the other side of their budget line is this beer called haziness.
Oh yeah.
And I don't particularly like haziness personally. Like I thought it was a really cool concept and I got some thinking it was going to be just as good as juiciness, and I was kind of disappointed by it.
Juiciness is definitely better.
Juicy, yeah. Because the hazy and the haziness to me does not outweigh how juicy the juiciness is. No. Because, I mean, this beer is like fucking alcohol orange juice, but better.
It's like a screwdriver.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, not exactly. Right, but I mean, but like, I mean, when you pour it into a glass, I mean, it fucking looks like OJ. It tastes like really orangey, citrusy, juicy IPA, and I mean it achieves everything it's trying to achieve. Like if you want an extremely budget friendly, very tasty, extremely drinkable, high alcohol IPA, this beer like achieves all of that very
does.
easily. And it's easy for me to come back to it. Like I have bought 8-pack after 8-pack after 8-pack of this beer, and I fucking love it. And it's so cheap. It's like at Harris Teeter, you can get 8-packs for $14. It's like it's like $2.50 a tall boy.
Right. And Harris Teeter is our local grocery store. I mean, so you can just get it at the store you go to every day, you know. So
Yeah. I mean, if you
it's not like you have to go to a bottle shop to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, if you do have to get it from a bottle shop, it's probably going to be closer to $18 to $20 an 8-pack, which is still to me pretty affordable. I mean, that's more like three and some change.
I saw it at Total Wine. I think it was $18.99. Total Wine. I looked specifically. I was going to get you some, and then I was like,
yeah. And to me, I mean, that's still half the price of like a premium 4-pack.
Yeah,
because like a typical premium 4-pack is going to be 18, maybe $16 to $20.
Yeah.
Right. And so being able to get an 8-pack, even if it was $18, I'd still buy it.
Right.
But I can get it at Harris Teeter basically perma on sale for $14.
Yeah.
So it's like $2.50 a beer. It's super drinkable. I love the fuck out of it. It's great.
And it's definitely worth the extra bucks if you're doing stuff like if you're just buying like Sierra Nevada Torpedo, like for which is what, $10.99 a 6-pack or something.
Yeah.
This is worth the extra money. I mean, you're getting 4 tall boys. I mean, it sounds like we're advertising.
It's almost a gallon of beer.
Yeah.
For $14.
A gallon of beer?
Yeah, because it's 4 32-ounce beers.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Or it's 8 32-ounce beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost a gallon. Total.
Yeah. So, but not just that it's a great beer, there's also a good story there of customer service, which you found out.
Yes. So to get back to my story of like what happened. So
you sure we don't want to leave this for next episode?
Shit. I think we just need to end this one now. All right. So basically what happened was, and I've drank a fuck ton of juiciness, which I think we've established at this point. So I can tell very easily whether what is in the can is juiciness or not. And so what happened was I bought an 8-pack and I got it home and I was so psyched because I didn't have any beer at the time. I bought this 8-pack. It was a cold 8-pack, so I was ready to come home and fucking drink it. And I put it all in the fridge. I'm so happy. I'm excited. I got another 8-pack of juiciness. I take the can out. Beer dance. Yep. I take the can out. I sit down at my table to have dinner with my wife. I pop the thing open. I pour it into a glass. And it looks like piss. It looks like pee. I mean, maybe not piss, but it looks like PBR.
Yeah, just flat, like just kind of.
Yeah, it's not hazy at all. It's completely translucent, like kind of yellowish color or whatever.
Just off.
I smell it. It does not smell like an IPA. I taste it. It tastes like a really weird coffee ale PBR. Like it just was not right. I knew it was not right. And so I brought out like another can, popped it open, poured it into a different glass. Same thing. Brought out another can, popped it open, put it into another glass. I burned like almost the whole back.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? So then I eventually looked on the bottom, and on the bottom of every can of Sycamore, they date and name every batch run.
Right.
And so then I looked on the box too, and it had the date stamped on it of which run it was from. And I figured out this run was fucked up.
Yeah.
And so I was like
the whole run was
messed up. And
which happens.
So, yeah. I mean, it happens. And this is a small brewery, right? Like I'm not going to put quality control issues past people. Like I went to school for Six Sigma stuff. So it's like I know quality issues, they fucking happen. But to me is when you let a company know, hey, you had a quality issue, what they do about it, to me, is really more important than the fact that I popped open a beer and it wasn't right. So essentially what I did is I went to their Instagram and I was like, hey, I bought this 8-pack. This is the run that it's from. This is the date it was manufactured. Here's a picture of the box. Here's a picture of the can. Here's a picture of the bottom. I sent them everything. And I was like, I'm 99% sure this is not right. I don't know if what's in the can is either a different beer than what this is supposed to be, or something is wrong with the beer.
Yeah. Did they have some sort of coffee-ish thing at the time that you noticed or anything?
Yeah, they had a coffee cream ale out at the time.
Oh, so it could have been that.
So I was like, this might be that.
Okay. Small place. Mistakes happen.
Yeah. And so I reached out to them. It was probably like 10 p.m. when I messaged them on Instagram. And like within like 30 minutes, they came back and were like,
oh, wow.
Well, eventually, at first, I didn't send them pictures. I was just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I have this 8-pack. I think it's fucked up." And they came back and was like, "Send us pictures."
They were like, "Pixar, it didn't happen."
Yeah, yeah. They were like, "Send us pictures. The batch numbers on the bottom of the can. Send us all that info. We'll get back to you as soon as we can." So I sent to them. They were like, "All right, hey, thanks for all the information. Let us get with our brewers. We'll let you know as soon as we can." Before I even woke up, like 7 a.m.
Oh, wow.
I had messages from
They were all over it.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, all right, so
Zero hesitation.
yeah, I talked to our brewer. They said that something went wrong with this particular batch where the beers just after they got canned, something fucked up happened with them and the beer got fucked up."
Oh, okay.
And they were like, we pulled what we thought was as either all of it or as much as we possibly could back from the distributors and got rid of it. But
They thought they got it all. Like,
right. Yeah. They
Okay.
thought they got it all. And they're like, but we know a handful, we think, of these 8-packs got out there. And we're basically just waiting for people to let us know.
And you have all of them.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, so I mean, you got apparently one of those bad 8-packs. And so they were like, so what I'm going to do is I want you to send me all your contact info. And then I'm going to give it to our local rep in your area. And then I'm going to have her get with you and replace the beer. And I was like, okay, sick. Sounds awesome. So a couple days go by and I hadn't heard anything. So I messaged them back and they were like, yeah, sorry. She was on vacation. She's going to be getting with you on
COVID,
Monday or something. And so she texted me and she was like, hey, guys sent me your info. They didn't really tell me anything. What's the deal? So I tell her the whole story and she's like, okay, cool. What do you want? I'll just bring you some stuff. And she's like, and I was like, yeah, I mean, all I'm expecting is a new, a replacement for what I bought. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Tell me your top 4 favorite beers. We're going to bring you shit. Damn. And I was like, okay, sick. So I tell her all this stuff. We end up scheduling a day. She comes by the house, and she brings me 2 4-packs, an 8-pack of juiciness, and a bunch of stickers.
Yeah, you sent me a photo of your haul from that day. You were very proud.
Yeah. I mean, and then at that point I was like, I'm happy. Everything's
more than happy.
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, this is exactly, it exceeds my expectations for what I would expect from a small brewery from a customer service standpoint. Because a
small brewery that's 200 miles away.
Yeah.
Too. So
yeah. And so I personally can understand a beer fuck up.
Yeah.
That shit happens, right? This is not Anheuser-Busch. Right. It's a small local brewery. Shit gets fucked up. It happens. Quality control issues happen, whatever. But they went above and beyond to rectify the situation with me. And so I personally was totally happy.
Yeah.
Except that there's another part to this story.
Okay. I don't know if I know this part.
So the replacement 8-pack they brought me was from the same run.
Oh, I do know this part.
And because basically what happened was the rep went to like a Harris Teeter and
just picked it up.
Yeah, and pulled inventory, because that's what they do. She's not going to go down to Charlotte and get me beer.
And she doesn't have a fridge full of stuff.
Yeah, right. So she's going to go to one of her locations, pull beer and whatever. And so this 8-pack was another 8-pack that came from Harris Teeter. And so it was the same thing. And so she dropped it off. And I saw it and I opened it up and I looked on the bottom of a can and I was like,
it had the same, like yours say Happy Holidays, but
this one from December.
Do you remember what they
said?
Happy
Holidays. No.
Okay.
Oh, I have them in my closet.
Okay.
So we can put them in the show notes of what they said.
We'll put a picture of it. Yeah.
But the run was brewed in September. It was like a September 23rd.
Okay.
Or something.
World.
Yeah, or something like that. And so I got it and I just put it in my closet because I was like, all right, this is gonna be great. I already have another pack in my fridge. No big deal. Because even with the fuck up, I was like, I'm just gonna go buy another one.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm gonna make sure it's not from this fucked up run. But
now you know the secret,
right? But yeah, so I just put it in my closet, and so when I did pull, or in my pantry, and so when I did pull that out, I looked at the bottom of the can, and lo and behold, it was from the September 23rd run again, and I was like, son of a bitch. So I just texted the lady again, and I was like, hey, so you're not gonna believe this, but.
Hi.
The replacement pack is from the same run. It's also fucked up. And so she was like, ah, shit.
Did you open any of them or you just saw the...
No, I just looked on the bottom of the can and saw that it was the same run. And so she was like, ah, fuck. All right. She's like, I'm out of town for like a week. Give me a week. I'll bring you another 8-pack. Like, don't worry about it. We got you. Just toss that one or whatever. So a week or so goes by. She shows up at my house. I got another free 8-pack.
Nice. And is that one of the stickers with the dog right there?
Yeah. That sticker with the dog is.
We'll take a photo. We'll share that.
So it's that one in the bottom left-hand corner, the Keep It Fresh Sycamore one.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So the main sticker, which is the one that caught my eye on John's cooler here, is a very happy looking, like maybe pit golden retriever sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like a gold. Yeah, it looks like a golden.
Like a golden, wearing like Ray-Bans with like the Sycamore logo underneath, kind of a Cali vibe going on. It's cool.
Yeah, very Cali vibe. Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, so basically that's the whole story. So I still have all of those fucked up cans except the ones that I opened in my pantry because my plan is to use like the popping open sound of the can and the pouring sound from the beer to record and use as part of a future intro for the show.
Do you think it's bungled or do you think it's that coffee ale?
They told me that it is juiciness, but something went wrong with the beer after it got canned.
Because coffee is such a distinct, weird flavor in beer.
It could just be something's fucked up with my taste. I should break one open and have you taste it.
Yeah,
and you can tell me what you think it tastes like.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do that at the beginning of the next episode.
Okay.
We'll do that as a taste.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. So that long-awaited is my whole Sycamore juiciness tale that I've been waiting to tell you guys for 10 weeks.
So 0 out of 10, 10 being the highest, how much would you recommend Sycamore's beers?
12.
12.
Turn it. Nope. Not 12. Fuck 12. 11.
11? Turn it to 11.
Turn it to 11.
This one.
Absolutely 11.
And
I'm low-key obsessed.
And their customer service?
Amazing.
33.
Also 11.
Okay.
Like
Great.
they just
awesome.
like
I mean
like,
they made up for themselves more than they needed to.
Yeah, and like I've been to the brewery and like those dudes are just very cool. Like they're very responsive. They really gave a shit about the fact that I paid money for their product and it was fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, because they're like a little brewery hundreds of miles away. They don't need to do that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like they could have just been like, hey man, sorry, like go buy another 8-pack. Don't know what to tell you. You know, they could have easily not believed me. And like they didn't blink an eye. They were just like, your beer's fucked up. Let me get you new beer. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they were so cool about it. And like, especially with like all these small like local breweries and stuff. And like Trophy's the same way. Like if I ever had a single problem, they would bend over backwards to take care of you.
Customer first. Yeah.
Right. And like if I was to buy a fucked up case of PBR, they'd tell me to be like, all right, it's
they'll send
$6.
You a coupon for 15% off your next purchase of,
right, exactly.
of PBR or some sort of bacon or something. Like it wouldn't matter. You know?
Right. They'll just be like, I mean, that sucks. It's $6 a 12-pack. Like, fuck off.
Like you're going to be okay. Like,
you're going to be fine, right?
Yeah.
You didn't go broke, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's my whole story. We're a little bit over what I said our deadline was going to be, but we had the news at the beginning, so
it's all right.
I think we're all right. So at that, let's move on to the conspiracy. So Jake, I know you gave us a summary of this Act of 1871 thing, but I, like usual, don't know what the fuck you're talking about. so learn me. What is this?
All right. Well, let's jump in. So basically what the Act of 1871 was a law passed by Congress in obviously 1871 that essentially was giving the District of Columbia its own sort of form of government because it wasn't a state.
Okay.
So
this is like the, lower 48 plus District of Columbia.
Yes.
Where DC has their own.
We weren't 48 at the time, but yes, essentially, yeah.
Yeah,
so
but like they have their own electoral college and everything.
Right. And they also needed their own like fire departments and all these other things that weren't handled by state governments.
What was it before? Was it part of Maryland or was it part of Virginia?
Neither. It was like this screwed up area that like needed attention.
It was like this green zone.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is right after the Civil War. So there's all these other
1871's right. Not after the Civil War, is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening in 1871?
The Civil War's over. So Civil War's over. All this stuff is expanding.
Wait, the Civil War was less than 100 years ago?
Oh, yeah. Civil War was from...
Wait, just over 100 years ago?
Yeah, Civil War was from 1861 to 1865.
Fuck.
So, yeah.
Dude, when you put it like that, it just does not seem like that long ago. That's like in the 70s, it was 100 years.
It wasn't that long ago. I mean,
it's what, 50 years from the 70s now? So
I saw
150 years since the end of the Civil War. Oh, God, that's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this thing today that was like, not to diminish the Civil War, but it basically said the Wonder Years aired in the 80s.
I saw you posted this. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was about the 60s. So 20 years ago. So like if an equivalent show aired today, it would be about the year 2001.
God.
Yeah. And so like, this is something I bring up to my wife all the time. So it's like
2 years. Wait.
When I was a kid, I was listening to Led Zeppelin and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was listening to like Boston and Doobie Brothers and shit.
So now kids that are listening to an equivalent past amount of time are listening to New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so back to Act of 1871.
So if the everything is aligned, this is coming out on March 4th. So tomorrow, on March 5th, Congress is going to swear in Donald J. Trump for his second term, making him the rightful 19th president of the lowercase, and this is very important, United States. So lowercase u, lowercase s. And this is essentially what the belief of when you're seeing the hashtag Act of 1871 on Twitter right now, which it's getting bigger and bigger and more popular.
Yeah, and this is 5 weeks ahead of when we're going to release this show. So
and it's
when the show releases tomorrow,
right,
March 5th,
yeah,
Donald Trump is going to be emperor of the planet,
right,
or whatever,
or whatever,
or whatever.
Yeah. So, and you're going to be seeing this a lot more. I mean, you're hearing this the day before it happens, but look back on the past couple of weeks, and you'll definitely be seeing that this has been building up because right now you're seeing this in QAnon hemispheres. It's all over Sovereign Citizen Twitter. It's all over patriots.win, which is a website that used to be the Donald.win, which was
the Donald.
It was the Donald from Reddit. They all got kicked off, and so they have their own website now. Yeah, they formed.
Okay.
They're like, I don't need your casino. I'm going to make my own casino.
Yeah.
So that's that. Obviously, it's stupid, but like let's break it down and look at it so that people who are seeing this can understand what they're looking at and what.
Yeah. So like in true Brewluminati fashion. Where is this coming from? Why does it matter? Why is it happening? And why is Twitter inundated with hashtag Act of 1871?
Exactly. Exactly. Where did this even come from? So,
yeah. And I guess my question is, what does it really mean?
Yeah.
Like in real terms, outside of the conspiracy terms, what was it really? You know?
Yeah. So really what it was a way to basically run the District of Columbia as a little city because they didn't have a way to do things like get fire departments, get police departments. They had
have
to figure
municipal funds, do
exactly like logistics.
Cities do because I mean
trash pickup.
Well, because Washington D.C. it's not part of a state.
No,
it's like I said before, it's like this green zone. It's like this no man's land.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like the safe haven almost of like this like inside the wire zone for
sort
politicians, kind of.
It's kind of like the Vatican, but the U.S. Like it's
I had never thought about it like that, but that's crazy. And I mean, it kind of is. Like that's where all our shit is.
Yeah, and so, I've lived in D.C. and it's kind of a
horrible place to live.
It kind of is. Yeah, it's actually a lot of fun, but it's like. It's like New York City. You want to live there when you're young. You don't want to be there when you're old.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Like I traveled there for like a school thing in 5th grade with my mom.
I did too,
and like we traveled around to all the Smithsonian's and we saw all of the shit.
Which is fun. It's cool.
There. And I went to a trip there with just my family one time. We stayed in like the Marriott DC Metro Center or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where like the subway goes underneath the hotel. Yep. And like, again, we went to like all the Smithsonian's and did all this like sightseeing shit together. And like DC is such a cool place. And you can definitely feel like all this really cool energy in like
it's there.
The Washington Monument space is so cool. The reflecting pool is so cool. The Lincoln Memorial is really cool.
Yep.
Like Arlington is really good. Like, there's just so much really, really interesting, like very high mana stuff going on up there. But then at the same time, it's like when you go to the Capitol building, it's like, this is where these assholes are in my life.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about January.
This is
6th,
where dipshits fuck up healthcare.
Oh yeah. Talking
You
about
know what I mean?
senators, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all true. One of the cool things was when I worked there, I lived and worked kind of downtownish, and I was near Chinatown, which right on the border of Chinatown is the National Portrait Gallery, which is my favorite part of the whole Smithsonian.
I don't think I ever went to that one.
It's definitely worth it, man.
That's probably one of those like smaller ones,
It is.
like off the beaten path.
It really is. Yeah, it's because it's on the edge of Chinatown. It's out of the way.
Yeah, because when you go, it's like, I want to see aerospace.
Yeah.
I want to see
big ones.
the art museum.
Yeah.
You know,
This is not one of the big ones. Like, you have to make a special trip out there. Like, you have to get on the subway. So most people never go there, which also makes it nice because it's never really crowded. But I grew up, when I was in college, I was a portrait painter. I did a lot of portrait painting. I did all this
God,
weird
the
stuff.
things that you've done that you just drop. By the way, did you know I was a portrait painter? I'm like, the fuck?
I did a year in an atelier in New Jersey where basically I studied under a portrait painter, and I learned how to paint oil portraits.
Okay. That's cool.
It was fun. It was
so
awesome.
What you're saying is you can paint my portrait?
If you want me to, yeah, I could.
Can you really still do it?
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably do acrylic now because oil is such a pain in the butt. But like, I could do it in acrylic.
We should fuck around and do that one day. Yeah, like when it's nice outside, we're hanging out in my backyard getting smashed. We should just do that.
Sure. Okay. I mean, I probably shouldn't get smashed. I'll probably lose the dexterity while I'm doing it. But
I mean,
I lose artistic
Do I have to stand
ability.
there for like 8 hours? Or do we just like take a picture of me and hang it in front of
I can do that too. That's what I always did. But
okay.
So that
we'll do that then.
Yeah. And,
let's take a picture and then we'll hang out and get fucked up. And then 8 weeks from now, you can bring me an acrylic painting.
Well, and you're lucky because my wife's the best photographer I know. So
she can take
your photo. Good. She's amazing.
It's ridiculous.
And
she shot my headshot I'm going to use for this show.
She did. You guys will see it pretty soon.
Yeah.
And so what I would do was on my lunch break in DC, like you have a long lunch and then you leave early and you go get drinks and you do like brunch on Sundays and drink a lot. And DC's kind of a very drinking culture. What I would always do is on my lunch break, I would go to the portrait gallery, and they have two really cool parts of the portrait gallery. The first is they have all the president's portraits there. So you can wander around and see these portraits going all the way back to like Washington through, when I was there as Obama.
So would these be the ones that like used to hang in the Capitol building or used to hang in the White House and have been moved out or something?
Well, yeah, they're the official originals. They're there.
Oh, so the ones that they actually have are like prints.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
got it.
Yeah,
okay. See, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So they have those, and then they have all these they have this whole history of portraiture. So they have like going back to like the Renaissance, where they have all these early American portraiture, and they just have all this really cool stuff. And then they have this like news section where they have a lot of really cool portrait photography, which is just out of control.
Okay.
And so I would just go there for lunch and like walk around and on the down low eat a sandwich while I'm just like strolling from room to room staring at stuff,
studying how they did colors and shit.
Yeah. But the coolest part of the whole place is if you kind of go back in this one back hidden corner, they have a whole lab where they restore all of the stuff from the Smithsonian.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
They're in there like, it's a 9-to-5 job. So these dudes are in there restoring all this stuff. And I'm sitting there like snorfing down a Reuben, staring at these guys like rebuilding.
There's like a glass pane between you
it's
and
like
them.
bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting there staring at these guys like redo paintings from the 1800s. And it's amazing. It's so cool. Like,
that's cool.
I spent every lunch for probably 8 months sitting there watching these people and never met any of them, never talked to any of them, just sat there and watched them work. And
that's cool. I bet they were back there like, the fucking guy's back here staring at me again. Like, and they're over there like trying to clean like painting off of like George Washington's ass. And they're just like, the fuck is this dude here staring at us again?
Is he eating fucking rosin?
Can somebody go talk to this guy? Like, what the fuck?
And security guards are like, no, that dude is too weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, DC's awesome. Live there if you can, but only when you're under 30 and you don't want kids. Anyways, so the belief of Trump getting like inaugurated on March 5th comes directly from this act where people have read it and they kind of misinterpret it. So if it were true, and that's a huge if, what it means is that we're going to return to the Republic of 1870, that's in quotes, when we only had 13 amendments. And this is like the most important part of all this.
So why would we return? I'm not picking up on that.
Yeah. So
they put the act in 1871 and now it's 2021.
Right.
Where does it like magically stop?
Okay. So the gist of it is basically that they passed this act in 1871, and what the secret of it was, like behind the scenes, was that they were transforming the United States of America as a republic into a corporation. Okay. And this act of 1871 bundled up the corporation and sold it to the United Kingdom, essentially.
USA Incorporated.
Right. Was now a subsidiary of
UK Incorporated.
Yeah. So it's
what UK Incorporated, DBA, right. USA Incorporated,
right?
DBA,
exactly. DBA,
United States of America.
Yeah. So
land of the free, home of the Braves.
Yeah, and it's a huge stretch, and that's the point of all this is that so many people are buying into this, and they're retweeting it and posting it, and it's all obviously for this hope of like Trump's going to come back, and they're pushing it. I mean, and
yeah.
You know, I follow a lot of people on Twitter who are in these realms, and I see this 5 or 6 times a day now. So I'm only
where they're just like Trump's going to come back,
right? And today's February, so
Biden's already been inaugurated,
right, for a while.
Yeah, but it's going to be Emperor Trump on March 5th,
right? Exactly. So
yeah.
So the thought is, the United States was sold to, and they specifically say the Rothschilds, like the old school Illuminati thing. So sold to the Rothschilds. And so the reason why they choose this date and a big purpose of why it's this bill is because right after this bill, other amendments were passed to the Constitution. So we only had 13 at the time of the signing of this. They're basically saying every amendment after that is going to be
null and void.
Unvalidated, null and void.
Okay.
Because we're no longer a corporation. We're going to become a republic again.
Okay. So they're basically trying to target the 14th Amendment.
Well, and everyone after that. So let's go through what that means. The 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship for the slaves at the time and anyone born in the USA. So essentially what they want is basically people with brown skin and, people not born in the USA to not be able to vote. So whether or not you're a citizen doesn't matter. Just not born in the USA. If you're slave, it doesn't matter. Like you have to be, and this is a big point too. You have to be born in the United States. Both your parents have to have been born in the United States, and then you can vote, and then you can be president too. So
yeah.
And then let's move beyond 14th, 15th Amendment, which directly guaranteed African Americans voting rights. They want that done and gone. 16th Amendment, which started income taxes, which income taxes gone.
I mean, I want that one gone.
Yeah, I mean, that one could be argued.
Yeah. I mean, 16th Amendment can, fuck off.
Yeah. And then you look at 19th Amendment, which granted, was the suffragettes, it granted women the right to vote.
Yeah.
So they want that one gone.
Yeah.
And then the 22nd Amendment, which this is one where they specifically target this.
What was the 20th and 21st?
21st was undoing of prohibition.
That's an extremely important one.
Well, but they never mentioned that one, which is odd.
Yeah. They can just skip over the beer one since it's not so important to them, but it's very clearly important to us.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the 20th Amendment was basically, it set a bunch of dates for different things. So like when the new president starts, it was basically like bookkeeping, it's like.
It was like a quality of life amendment.
Essentially, yeah. Like, so the inauguration is this date, term limits start this date, not term limits, but like this is when people's terms start.
Right.
So
yeah, term starts this day, term ends this day, inauguration happens this day, blah, blah, blah stuff.
Exactly. And one that the specific people calling for this like Act of 1871 to be undone and all this stuff, the people who are specifically doing that, one of the most common ones they target is the 22nd Amendment, which is term limits for the president. They want to eliminate term limits for the president, which would basically mean Trump for life in their worldview.
Yeah, fuck that.
I mean, any president, even Joe Biden, Obama, whoever. Like, I don't want any president for life. Like,
right.
It doesn't.
I mean,
make
I don't
sense.
think any. God, this is the most political statement I will have made on this show. I do not think there should be such a thing, period, as lifetime politicians.
I don't, and I don't think that's a political statement. I think that's common sense. I don't think there's any reason for any person to be in a political position for their entire life.
Like congressmen,
guaranteed entire life,
senators, all the way down to like governors, like state level, sheriffs, like you should not be able to be in a position in government for so many years that is your entire
right.
Like at that point, you are not representing the people because you're not a people. You're a politician.
I mean, like, you know what I mean? If you look back and there's black and white footage of this dude being sworn in, like, no, come on. Like, it's forget it.
Yeah, like if you started with hair and you now have no hair, you have been going on too long. Like if you started with colored hair and now have white hair, like, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't know. And just to me, at some point, the entire idea of a career politician to me just means you're not representing people because you're no longer the people.
Yeah. I mean,
how can you relate to the people if you're spending all of your time doing politician shit? You're not a person. You don't have a job. You don't have like a quote unquote job like the rest of the normies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, how can you be up in Washington representing me and my best interests? You know what I mean? If you don't have the experience of me living as a person in America, Yeah.
And I mean, like, even if you are a quote unquote career politician or something, I mean, look at like you and I, if we're like career people in our career paths, we advance into different things. So like, you become a local senator, and then you're in like the House and the Senate, and then you go to the like federal level. You keep climbing, in an aspirational sense to become a president or whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
and
but once you're like U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress,
right?
There's no higher for you to go.
You shouldn't be there for 50
Congratulations,
years.
But you don't need to be there for 40 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
People get settled in. Yeah. I agree. And
anyway.
Before we dive in too much, I really want to stress on, like, we're talking about this and it seems like a goofy thing, but I want to stress about how widespread this is. Like, just today alone, I did some searching and dug in, and I found this on about 7 different platforms, including like kind of mainstream ones like Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, where I just basically did a search for Act of 1871, and I found hundreds of posts on all of these things. And these are people 100% bought in, thinking this is going to happen. Let's look back at like kind of what the idea of the Act of 1871. This isn't what it actually was. This is like what people are saying it is. So originally it was, an act to provide a government for the District of Columbia. But what people are saying it is that this act, which was passed when the U.S. government was, quote unquote, weakened after the Civil War, was a very strategic move by foreign powers and international bankers. And, when they say foreign powers and international bankers, they're actually saying Rothschilds and the Illuminati. So this was when the government was weak, this was passed, after the Civil War. And Congress cut a deal with these, Rothschilds of London to incur a quote unquote debt to those bankers. And because the bankers were not about to lend money to a floundering nation without serious stipulations, they devised a way to get their foot in the door of the United States. So essentially the Rothschilds took over. The Act of 1871 formed a corporation called, in all capitals, and the capitals part is the important part, the United States. The corporation, owned by foreign interests, moved in and changed the original Constitution. So they're saying that we came in and moved some stuff around. And with the Act of 1871, the Constitution was defaced, quote unquote, vandalized, when the title was capitalized and the word for was changed to of in the title. So their belief is that the Constitution was changed to the Constitution of the United States of America from the Constitution for the United States of America. The United States part being lowercase, which basically means that they're just states and not an actual corporation. So they essentially think because of a capitalization, that means all of this unfolded. So the US of A corporation, not the US for a republic, operates in an economic capacity and has been used to fool the United States people into thinking that they govern the republic when they don't. But they say it actually does not represent us all. The people spreading this theory on the increasingly shallow end of the conspiracy pool believe that capitalization is so important and significant to this that's why it's in legal documents. But to be fair, these are the same exact people who think that Trump misspelling things in his tweets are specific coded messages for them to uncover.
The Illuminati of Trump.
Yes, the Trump-Luminati. So instead of having absolute and unalienable rights guaranteed under the original Constitution, they argue we the people now have relative rights or privileges. So they give an example of what this means, which is the sovereign right to travel, which has now been transformed under corporate government policy into a privilege that requires citizens to be licensed. So this is the sovereign citizen movement that you see all over YouTube, where a guy gets pulled over and the cop asks him for his license and he says, "You have no right to pull me over. I'm a sovereign citizen." And then it devolves into the cop smashing the window and dragging the guy out.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is all because of like this theory here. So
okay.
The sovereign citizen movement is those YouTube videos you see where cops are ripping dudes out of their cars who refuse to produce identification. A quote unquote sovereign citizen will get pulled over for speeding. And then when asked for their license and registration, they tell the police officer that he has no right to talk to them because as a sovereign citizen, they have the inalienable right to travel. Just as a rule, they say that.
Okay.
And so the cop is like, I don't get it.
I mean, there's lots of cops out there who don't particularly understand the letter of every single of the 50 billion fucking laws we have here.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes, you have the right to travel. You do not have the right to travel like a douche.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that to me is one of those like,
yeah,
yes, you do, but at the same time, don't be a dick about it. You know, like,
yeah,
that's why there's laws about speeding and shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So they're kind of like, you know, they get pulled over speeding and they're using like this one sentence that they've misinterpreted from the Constitution as a way to say like, listen, cop, you can't talk to me.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's not how that works.
Right. And as we all know, cops love when you tell them to F off and you can't talk to them. You know, they usually take that pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, the difference is like if you hit like a checkpoint or something and you're like, am I being detained? Right. Or am I free to go?
Well, that's a whole other story. That's a different thing.
Yeah, that's a whole other different thing. But that's not the same thing as like a moving violation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or a speeding ticket.
Like, hey, do you know why I pulled you over? F you, I have a right to travel. And then all of a sudden, like, you're face down with a knee in your neck, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I have been pulled over under false pretenses before. And like, I mean, sometimes it's hard to know. Like when I was in high school, I was driving from my parents' house, which is in North Raleigh downtown, to go clubbing or whatever. And I hadn't drank or anything. And I got pulled over and the cop like stuck his head in my window. Was like, you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, no. He was like, you have a license plate light out. And I was like, sick. This is my dad's Suburban. So, I mean, I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
My license plate has lights?
I'm 18. And then he sticks his head in the window and he goes,
oh boy,
you been drinking? And I was like, no, bro, I'm 18. Like, the fuck are you talking about? And he just like whoops a breathalyzer out of nowhere and like shoves it in my face. It's like, you need to breathe into this. And I was just like, bro, he was freaking me out. So, I mean, I did.
Sure.
But, you know, at the time I was like, I didn't know any better.
Well, if you say no, you go to jail.
Yeah.
Like,
but so later on, I got to the club and I left all the lights on the bourbon and I got out and I looked in the back. The fucking license plate light was not out. This motherfucker just wanted to pull me over.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I'd been getting tailed from Crabtree Valley Mall all the way to the depot.
Oh, man.
Whatever. Anyways, continue.
That's so annoying though.
I hate that. I hate when I get tailed by multiple cops, and I can tell
Yeah.
because one picks me up, and then like a couple miles later they drop off. Another one picks me up. I'm just like, the fuck? Am I like running coke right now? Like, what's happening?
You're like a moonshiner.
I'm an 18-year-old weed dealer. Like, what's happening? I don't know. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm running moonshine in my dad's Suburban.
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah. Lots of space for moonshine in the back of a Suburban. Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, so those dudes are the sovereign citizen movement, which is huge. It's way bigger than you think it is.
Really?
Yeah, and so
this is like a thing that's happening in America.
It's a thing. It's a big thing. Like,
it's not a thing to me, but it's a thing to people apparently.
Pretty much all those people who were on the Capitol January 6th, running around the inside of the Capitol building, those were all the sovereign citizen folks.
You know what's funny to me about that whole situation? So all of those people got on that. What was that social media platform that's like gone now?
Parler, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is hilarious to me about that is that like somehow, and this is like alleged, this is an internet story. So y'all come out and tell me whether this is true or not. But allegedly what happened across the interweb is that all of these fucking people who did that shit after, Donald Trump's speech in DC and then stormed the Capitol building all went home to their little keyboards, went on fucking Parler and started bragging about all the illegal shit that they did.
A lot of them, yes.
Yeah. And then subverts from the government went out and were like, and they knew apparently Parler was like about to get shut down for some reason. And they were like, yeah, tell us about all the illegal shit you did. Tell us more. Hurry up. And these people were out here just like incriminating themselves, posting pictures of themselves, saying, like listing off all the illegal shit that they did. And then the federal government used all of that evidence from Parler to basically catch all of these fucking people.
Yeah.
And that's where now across like Facebook and stuff, we're seeing people of like, this person jumping over a railing in the Capitol floor with like a mask on. You can't tell who they are.
Oh, yeah.
But they outed themselves on Parler. And then the federal government was like, that's the fucking guy.
Yeah.
We got you, bitch.
I mean,
and then they went and got him.
You're 99% correct.
Am I? I'm close.
You're very close.
Yeah.
The best part of it wasn't the government that went on and was like, tell us what you did or whatever.
Yeah.
There was just like this one woman who basically figured out a flaw in the software code of Parler and downloaded the entire history of Parler.
Oh, shit.
And just handed it to the FBI.
Oh, fuck. So see, I didn't know that one. That's
everything,
nuts.
all this stuff. Yeah, I wish I knew her name.
I mean, this lady must have had like a fucking backup and recovery server in her house.
No, she just like found the file and downloaded it.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking like hundreds of terabytes of.
Yeah. And
but like I'm saying, she would have had like a BNR server in her house to handle that much data.
But apparently the way Parler's code was written or whatever, it was like right click download. Like it was like a very simple thing. Which is just baffling to me. Yeah, anyways. So those dipshits are the those dipshits talking about their daily tasks are the sovereign citizen movement. And this is how the Southern Poverty Law Center describes them, which is a organization that kind of like catalogs extremists and stuff. So they say sovereign citizens believe that they, not judges, juries, law enforcement, or elected officials, decide which laws that they should obey and which to ignore, and they don't think they should have to pay taxes. Sovereigns are clogging up the courts with indecipherable filings, and when cornered, many of them lash out in rage, frustration, and, in the most extreme cases, acts of deadly violence, usually directed against government officials. In May 2010, for example, a father-son team of sovereigns murdered 2 police officers with an assault rifle when they were pulled over on the interstate while traveling through West Memphis, Arkansas. The movement is absolutely rooted in like some racism and anti-Semitism background. In the early 1980s, the sovereign citizen movement mostly attracted white supremacists and anti-Semites, mainly because sovereign theories originated in groups that saw like quote unquote Jews as working behind the scenes to manipulate financial institutions and control the government. Most early sovereigns and some of those who are still on the scene believe that being white was a prerequisite to becoming a sovereign citizen because of the way the amendments are written. They argued that the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which guaranteed citizenship to African Americans and everyone else born in the U.S. soil, also made Black Americans permanently subject to federal and state governments unlike themselves. So essentially saying that since this all ended in 1871, that the 14th, 15th Amendments, none of those mattered. So Black people don't actually have any rights.
So because African Americans are named in an amendment,
Right.
they have to be, quote unquote, given rights by the government.
Right.
That means that white people inherently have rights. Black people inherently don't and are given rights by the government.
Yes. That is pretty much the gist of what they're saying.
Sick.
Yeah, shitty.
I mean, the opposite of sick.
Yeah, right.
It's
like the original meaning of sick.
Yeah, that's very, very fucked up. Do not agree. 0 of 10. Opposite of what is good.
These sovereign citizens, and air quotes around citizens, say that by passing the Act of 1871, Congress committed, and this is all in caps lock, treason against we the people, who were sovereign under the grants and decrees of the Declaration of Independence and the original Constitution. So the argument from these guys is that basically everything done since 1871 was actually done by America the company and not America the republic. So it's all null and void, and Trump is going to turn back that entire clock to 1871 and put things back on the right track. Hence why he won't be the 45th president again, but actually the 19th president.
So the first time Trump was president, he wasn't the president. He was the last CEO of America the company.
Right. There may be some fiddling and argument about whether or not Joe Biden was the last CEO, maybe depending on things, but essentially, yes. Like he was the last CEO, and then he's going to be the real president to bring it all back in. There's this woman named Lisa Giuliani, no relation to that other guy. She's
that other guy.
To that other guy. She's a complete sovereign citizen, again, air quotes around citizen, who runs, it used to be this thing called Babel magazine.
She's a super citizen.
Yeah, super. And she ran this thing called Babel magazine, which is an online magazine produced for people interested in starting a second civil war and who don't want to pay taxes. And she is a kind of leading, and again, this is in air quotes, intellectual in this whole movement, who says, and this is her quote, "It doesn't take a rocket scientist or a constitutional historian to figure out that the U.S. government has not been subject to the consent of the governed since long before you or I were born. Rather, the governed are subject to the whim and greed of the corporation, which has stretched its tentacles beyond the 10-mile square parcel of land known as the District of Columbia. In fact, it has invaded every state of the Republic. Mind you, the corporation has no jurisdiction beyond the District of Columbia. You just think it does. You see, you are presumed to know the law, which is very weird since we the people are taught nothing about law in school. We memorize obscure facts and phrases here and there, like the preamble, which says, we the people established this Constitution for the United States of America. But our teachers only gloss over the Bill of Rights. Our schools, controlled by this corporation of government, don't delve into the Constitution at depth." Her argument is essentially that these laws that govern us as a corporation don't extend out beyond DC. We just think it does and follow those rules.
All right.
I mean,
I'm following her argument, but I'm just like,
are you?
I mean,
because I'm not.
So basically what she's saying is like all of the extra amendments past 1871, all of the extra laws, all of that shit, that only applies to all of America because we allow it to apply to all of America, but it's supposed to only apply to the area of America that constitutes the America, the company, which is the DC and not the remainder of America.
Yes. So it gets better. The sovereign citizens believe that our USA, that's capital letters, corporate law is based on old-timey Roman civil law and admiralty or maritime law, which is also known as the quote-unquote divine right of kings and the quote-unquote law of the sea, quote-unquote. So if you go on YouTube, you can find discussions of people who are driving into the Capitol on buses, like rented buses altogether. And they're all having these conversations about whether or not maritime law applies in the District of Columbia and whether or not they can even be held liable for breaking into the Capitol building. And so I went on YouTube and I found this video, and it was literally these people having this discussion. And they're saying because the District of Columbia is a corporation, then only maritime law and old Roman law applies there. So U.S. state laws don't actually apply there. And it's this weird logic that they're pulling out of their own butts. And I have no idea where they even really get it from. But yeah, they were having this long kind of conversation where it sounded like if you listen to two lawyers have a conversation, that's what this sounded like. It was just these two dipshits who had lots of confidence having this conversation, but they didn't know what they were actually talking about because, of course, U.S. laws apply in the Capitol, you know? And here's what it boils down to, and here's what their evidence is. If you refer to the United States Code, this is just a string of numbers, but if you look it up like this, straight into the Google machine, go ahead and put Title 28, 3002, 15 ABC. They say that this is unequivocal evidence that the United States is a corporation. And what they're saying is that the United States listing there is lowercase, which is stupid because it's just saying that a United States associated corporation. What that means is any federal corporation. So an agency, department, commission, board, or any other entity of the United States or instrumentality of the United States. And so because they see the word United States corporation, they just assume that the United States is a corporation.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing that I keep wondering about that. Like, where I'm not understanding the capitalization because even if you're talking about a corporation,
right,
the legal name of that corporation would be capitalized.
Right.
So I'm not understanding where the lowercase is coming in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why is that the determining factor here when legal names are capitalized?
Yeah.
Like the United States of America capitalized, the legal name of United States of America Inc. would also be capitalized. So I'm not understanding why lowercase United States Inc.
Right.
Why is that proof? It's just a typo or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
And the reality is it's probably not even a typo. I mean, the reality is this is written in 1871. So if you go back to 1871, what were they doing? They were scrawling crap.
It was handwritten.
Yeah, on a piece of papyrus, hemp papyrus, you know?
Yeah.
And so when you write United States, what does a lowercase and uppercase U have in common?
They're the exact same shape.
They look exactly. What does a lowercase and uppercase S have in common?
Well, in cursive, they would be totally different.
Yeah. Well, possibly. Yeah. I mean, I would have to see the original document, but I don't think it's that kind of cursive. I think it's kind of a block writing, like handwriting.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah. So I mean, they're very similar. They look exactly the same, and they're using that, like a handwritten thing from 1871, as evidence. And literally, it is that specific. This one little U and S in the middle of this gigantic bill that was written hundreds of years ago, they're using that as their evidence of this entire theory, which is bonkers.
Seems kind of thin to me.
Yeah, little thin.
It reminds me of that part from Super Troopers where they're talking about Johnny Chimpo and the captain's like, Johnny Chimpo. Sounds kind of thin to me.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyways, so what they are claiming that the lowercase United States means as a federal corporation, all that stuff. But if you even back it up, so what we were just discussing was Title 28, 3002, 15 ABC. If you go to Title 28, 3002, 14, it literally outlines that state means any of the several states, the District of Columbia, Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas, or any territory or possession of the United States. So literally right before this part that they're arguing about, it defines what they're arguing about. like a sentence before.
So this is just a context game.
Yeah.
They're taking out of context in
100%.
the interest of getting people on their side about some bullshit argument when really the document says it. You just need to go back a passage or two.
Literally a one sentence.
And boom, you have context.
And so the other thing they quibble about is federal corporation, claiming that federal corporation is meaning United States as a corporation. But a little bit further back, they define federal corporation as any agency of the federal government established by Congress to perform a public purpose, which provides a market-oriented product or service and is intended to produce revenue that meets or approximates its expenditures. So, like, it's
the
basically
FDA,
saying
DHHS, the
IRS, Department of Energy.
IRS. Yeah, that is a corporation of the government.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of the average person or lawmaker who is, actually reading this, who thinks, oh, corporation of the United States means basically IRS or any of these other things, these people read it and think the United States has been owned by the Rothschild since 1871 and Donald Trump will be the 19th president. So, little thin.
Yeah. I mean, it's like tough, but not that tough. Like, have I gone out and read this document? No.
Yeah.
But like, this argument just does not make sense.
Well, yeah. And you see like a meme on Facebook where it just says, oh, according to this US Constitution thing here. And people see that and like they have a lot of hope because there's a lot of people out there who really hope Trump comes back and becomes president again. And they see this and they think, oh, that's how it's going to happen. Like, it's just, it feeds into their happiness and their beliefs.
Yeah. I mean, it's so tough right now. And we've talked about this whole social media platform thing. And like memes have become so huge in the last number of years. And like, I'm not going to go as far as to say memes are dangerous, but people are stupid and they do believe bullshit.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
absolutely.
There's an entire meme page on Instagram dedicated to basically trying to prove the fact that there's some law somewhere that says that you should recycle car batteries in the ocean and that people have been doing it forever.
Okay.
And that what you should do with your used car batteries is throw them in the ocean because the alkaline mix is somehow good for the ocean. Like, and they just post recycling car battery in the ocean memes. Like, that's all they do. And I'm just like,
I don't want to have to drive 200 miles to throw away another car battery.
I know, but I'm just like, that's the kind of shit where it's like, if you can't tell this is fucking fake, like you maybe need to take a step back from social media. Yeah. And like even earlier in this show, it reminded me of recently, it's like yesterday or the day before, there was a meme that came out, or it wasn't even really a meme. It was like one of those screenshots of a Twitter conversation. And the first tweet was Elon Musk saying, "I'm getting off Twitter for a while." And and I think I posted this on our Instagram. And the follow-up was someone being like, "Thanks, Elon. I'll take it from here." Yeah. Elon Musk has returned to Alpha Centauri, and the Earth has now been scheduled for demolition.
Right.
Have a nice day. Don't panic.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, people.
Right.
Like, this shit is dumb. Like, you have to laugh at it and realize that memes are comedy. That's it.
Yeah. And I mean, when you break it down, I mean, that's what a lot of this all started as. I mean, and you see the whole QAnon thing where they're like, this is a meme army and we're digital soldiers. And they're just basically like shit posting. And people are buying into this as like, this is the way the future is going to work because they're just kind of older people who think this is how the internet is.
Yeah.
And it's.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's definitely older people who think shit posting is like, there's an element of truth in shit posting.
Right.
And it's not. It's just shit.
Yeah.
It's Gen Z comedy.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, if you honestly think that a capital U and a capital S have been the secret determination that the United States is actually a corporation and not a republic run by presidents for the past 100 years, I think you're right. I think you need to take a step back. Just kind of back up away from the computer and like look at your life a little.
I mean, this entire conspiracy is based on capitalization.
Yeah, which
And
is
like
bizarre.
this is not, what is that shit called? When Ted Kaczynski was doing the bombing thing and he was, doing his whole Unabomber thing and he was sending all of those, part of the manifesto, but he was sending all of those letters, and the FBI behavioral unit analysis that they assigned to it basically developed this system that was brand new and used in the case against Ted Kaczynski as the Unabomber, where basically they used like fingerprints and stuff that he left behind, ways that he used certain spellings, certain formatting,
the contextual analysis.
All of this contextual analysis. And I can't remember what it's called.
Forensics?
Linguistic forensics.
Yeah.
All right. Linguistic forensics is a thing that the FBI uses to, catch people like Ted Kaczynski who write hundreds of pages of letters over decades, linking him all the way back to a very specific time frame of the Chicago Sun or whatever, using very specific spellings to save ink because letters cost money, or, very specific syllabi for formatting, for writing thesis and stuff like that. That is not what we're talking about here.
No.
We are not talking about linguistic forensics here. We're talking about literally 2 words and capitalization, and that is nothing.
Could you imagine though if like all of a sudden they were like, oh, my bad, that was actually not supposed to be capitalized. Black people, women, and other people can't vote anymore. And
I thought this earlier.
And so
where I was going to ask you, I was like, what if this was real? What if it's true? What if this comes up and all of a sudden we have Emperor Trump, President 19 of the United States of America, and the Corporation of America has been sold to Great Britain?
Well, first of all, like why Trump? Like he only plays into this because those are the people that are pushing at this moment. But like,
because he's not Ronald Reagan.
Sure. But I mean, like, why not?
I don't know.
Why not the ghost of Woodrow Wilson? Like, like who, I mean, why are we locked into this one person,
I don't know because Trump is like, I think for these people, Trump is that non-politician. He's that I don't know.
That's a big point.
I don't know the way to say it. He's a
shit poster just like them, like,
yeah,
he's okay being offensive.
That's probably true.
He wants to be offensive. He wants to confront people, and people want someone who will fight for them.
Yeah,
that's what they want.
I think these people see him as a brash, normal American dude, not a career politician,
right?
And who's come back to like save the republic.
Yeah, even though he's got a gold-plated toilet and doesn't care. I mean, it's like,
even though he's a gold-plated ass.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely baffling to me that's connected. And I mean,
I don't know.
If right now, if today, like Biden came on TV tonight and was just like, oh God, this was actually meant to be capitalized. I guess the Rothschilds owed us.
Oh, sorry. Act of 1871 expires today. I guess we fucked
and then
up
all of a sudden we're like,
about that.
The Queen comes on every TV channel at once and it's like, whoa! And then like her corgis are running around bursting into flames.
And then like a doomy like organ solo like pops up in the background. Dun dun dun.
Like Prince Charles swoops down and he's just like, I own all of you now.
The boss fight happens and
Rothschilds come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it's like,
they raise the dead. They come back from the dead. And
I mean, like, I don't know what even would happen. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Could you even imagine if like somebody came to your house right now and they were like, hey, there was a typo in your deed and actually Bob, your neighbor, owns your house? It would just be fist fights until the world ended.
I'd literally hit that person in the face.
Right. Like who the F is Bob?
I'm sorry. I've already talked to the registrar and the Department of Revenue about the taxes on my house. So
it's like, I've talked to Winchester. Like, I mean, like, where's that conversation going to go? Like, and now imagine that on like a global scale. There's no way,
Yeah.
If somebody came to me with a typo that they owned the wheels on my car, it would be a huge problem.
You're right.
It's just, it's baffling to me. It's so weird. And
I don't understand this one. When you brought this one up to me, I was like, the fuck are you talking about?
But it's everywhere. It's on every social media platform. So I encourage everybody out there to jump on your laptop, search out hashtag Active1871 so you can learn about what we have to deal with when Trump becomes president again tomorrow. Well, the 19th president.
19th president.
Yeah, so.
And then he'll be the 20th and the 21st and the 22nd.
And just forever, yeah. And, I'm really
until
looking
he becomes a cyborg and then moves back to Alpha Centauri.
Yes. I'm looking forward to the commemorative plates. I'm a big fan of and the coins.
You think there's going to be a Trump commemorative? Okay, hold on.
Wait, what's that plate company?
Is there going to be a Trump library?
Oh, yeah, of course. There's always a presidential library.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't there be?
Yeah, but why would there be?
Why not?
I don't know.
I mean, he's a president.
Okay, so I think about this. I walk into the Trump presidential library. The very first book I see is like
Art of the Deal. I mean, obviously, what else would there be?
I was going to be basically like How to Become a Millionaire, Dr. Seuss edition.
No, Art of the Deal.
Really?
Yeah. Art of the Deal 1, Art of the Deal 2.
Okay.
That's it.
And then basically a bunch of books with all pictures and no words.
There'll be words. the biggest words, the best words.
The best deal words.
The best deal words. I mean, it'll probably be in Palm Beach. It'll probably be it would probably be on Mar-a-Lago. I don't know why they would go anywhere else for it. They're not going to put it in New York.
Would it be like a gold-plated signed first edition of Art of the Deal?
I guarantee one of those exists. There has to be. I would be
shocked if one didn't exist.
Appalled. I would be appalled if one didn't exist. Like, why wouldn't you make that? Like, if that was your book, like he's Trump, he's got a book. Like, why not make a gold-plated edition?
Yeah, I don't know.
He fakes himself on Time magazine covers. Why not?
Wait, he fakes himself on Time magazine covers?
Yeah, that was like a whole thing a while ago. Like in 2017 or something, they found a bunch of he had fake Time magazine covers put up around the White House.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you hear that apparently there's going to be a new version of Home Alone 2 come out where they edit Donald Trump out of it?
I feel
his
like
little
that's
cameo
silly.
is going to be edited out.
Yeah, I feel like it's dumb. Like, just leave him in there.
I don't know if that's true, but I heard that that might be a thing.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. But first of all, who's out there needing a new copy of Home Alone 2? Who's just listen, I got to get this new edition.
I mean, I don't know. It become valuable. Do you have an original copy of Home Alone 2 on VHS?
I don't have an original VHS of anything. No, I have two skate videos from back in the day on VHS, nothing else.
I think I have the original Star Wars trilogy.
Like the prequels?
Yeah. No.
The original.
The originals.
Okay,
yeah, not the special edition, the before all the CGI was added. Yeah.
The good ones.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But yeah, so anyways.
And yeah.
Good luck tomorrow with Emperor Trump.
Yeah. Well, hopefully America the country still exists.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Hopefully we can wrap up this whole America the corporation thing and get back to business.
Right. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Brewluminati. We will look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Brewluminati. Our intro and outro music is written by Dungeness. Want to learn more about the topics we cover and who we are? Join us on Facebook and Instagram at Brewluminati Podcast for behind-the-scenes content and updates. Do you have mystical powers of insight or just questions, suggestions, and feedback? Reach out to us at thebrewluminati@gmail.com. Are you ready to immerse yourself into the inner circle? Visit patreon.com/Brewluminati Podcast. For the same price as a cup of coffee or sandwich you won't remember, because of mind control, you can join the Brewluminati and lift the veil on the true mysteries of the universe. Your membership to the Conclave unlocks access to our secret Discord server, bonus Patreon-only content, behind-the-scenes talks, and much more. Every dollar spent not only helps us reveal the truths of the world, but also frees us to make the show better, weirder, and allows us to go deeper and deeper into the void while funding our next beer run. When we're not talking conspiracies and beer, we're passionate about saving the forgotten puppies and kitties of the world. 10% of every dollar you donate goes directly to the Best Friend Pet Adoption Agency. They are a local 501c3 all-breed, all-foster cat and dog rescue that will save the life of a pet who never had a chance. Keep an eye out because we'll be posting pictures of the lives our listeners save. For more information on best friend pet adoption, head over to bfpa.org. Join us again next week for another episode of Brewluminati. We know you will, because again, mind control is real.